Transition Awareness Breathing. Feeling grounded for both children and parents is essential for healthy living and learning. Join Eartha Powell on this series for tips and tools for creating a harmonious environment for learning. Transition Awareness Breathing will help you and your child find an individualized path to tackle change, promote lifelong learning, and discover new approaches to calmness.
Hi, welcome. You are back, and I am so happy you're joining me this morning for Transition Awareness Breathing Podcast. Today, we're going to do an exercise, and I wanted to give you a little bit of a prep time to get some material ready. What you'll need is, I would recommend that you have my tab, Mindfulness Awareness Coloring Activities in a Pandemic World book, because the activities are already spelled out and we can just get into it. But if you don't have that book, I don't want that to be a showstopper. Get some paper. In addition to that, you need some color pencils or color markers, something that has an array of rainbow of colors. That's what you'll need, some writing utensils. And so while you're gathering that, I just want to say thank you again for joining me. I'd like to thank Web Talk Radio for allowing me to have a platform to bring Transition Awareness Breathing Podcasts to you, wherever you are at. And I'd like to thank my producers, Mary Lou and Sam, for making all this possible to bring Transition Awareness Breathing Podcast to you. Now, mentioning that, of course, if you're in a position where you cannot participate in these activities, please listen and do the activities later on and re-listen to the podcast. What we're going to do is something that I did with my students last week, and I thought I would share it with you. I think it is a good idea to practice some of the things that I'm teaching some of my students, because it's not that they're the age group, but children are so very honest and pure with their expressions and their emotions. And so when I do different exercises with my students, they really show me exactly if the exercise really works, because if it doesn't work, they're going to let me know. So this has been tested by my second graders and third graders. Thank you, guys. So I'm going to share it with my podcast audience. So I'd like to dedicate this podcast to my virtual Transition Awareness Breathing students. Hi, guys. Thank you, parents, for allowing your children to join me every week, 2 times a week, in learning about mindfulness, awareness, and relaxation breathing. Let's get started. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do an imagery exercise, and then we're going to do a coloring exercise. Okay, because we're doing different activities during this podcast, I'd like to start with the imagery activity, and then afterwards we're going to move in to the second activity. So this activity is a little bit short. We could really, it could go for a long time, but we're going to make it really short. And this is just to kind of clear the cobwebs and to get you clear and ready to participate in the second exercise. So this is an imagery exercise. Ready? Okay, let's get started. I'd like for you to take a breath in through your nose, a nice easy breath in your nose, and then blow it out your mouth. Okay? And I'd like you to take another breath in your nose, out your mouth, and one more breath. And I want you to pay attention to the temperature of the breath. Breathe in and blow out. Now, close your eyes if you feel comfortable. If not, find a focal point and just relax your arms just nice and loose at your side. Find a comfortable sitting position, or if you don't want to sit, just find a comfortable place to lay down. Or if you're walking, that'd be great. We can do mindfulness walking. And I want you to imagine, as you're breathing in and blowing out, that we're on a trip. We're walking in a forest, a green forest. Maybe it's someplace where you have been before, or someplace you would like to go. But it's a place that is very positive, and it's your favorite place. So maybe it's not a forest. Maybe it's someplace else. Let's take a moment and go there. And you're walking, and you're breathing in the air and blowing out through your mouth. And you're walking, and you notice the sounds. What sounds? As you're breathing in and as you're blowing out. And as you're walking, you can feel the pebbles, or if you're on a beach, you can feel the sand underneath your feet. As you're walking, each step is a very mindful and careful step, and you're breathing in, and you're paying attention to the temperature of the breath, and you're blowing out. And you're looking around, and you're walking, and you're breathing in and blowing out. Now we're going to open our eyes. We're going to end this exercise, taking a deep breath in and blowing out. All right, so now we're going to transition to the next exercise. So get your paper, or if you have the book. So go ahead and get that, and let's begin. What I would like for you to do is open to the page where it has, it's towards the back of the book, if you have the tab Mindfulness, Awareness, and Coloring Activities in a Pandemic World. If you have that book, go towards the back of the book, and you'll see some circles. The page says colors that help me feel calm. That's what we're going to be working on. If you do not have that book, as I stated before, just get some plain paper and draw a oval shape. Now, I want you to think about colors. Colors express people's emotions, our moods. They're fun. They can be not fun sometimes. Sometimes some colors express emotions in us that represent sadness or frustration. So what I would like for you to do is think of a time, and with my students, I used a time when we had a lot of snow, and how did that make them feel? So you may not have snow in your situation and where you live, but think of a time last week, so it could be very recent, that you were feeling it was an unexpected situation, and I want you to explore those feelings. Just one circle. Yeah, I don't want you to to think that we're gonna break this down. So with one circle, I want you to draw a circle and just draw a face in that circle of how you felt when that unexpected situation occurred. You don't have to be an artist, you don't have to worry about a lot of detail, but just the general concepts. And if you are a detailed person, please go for it. Just get the idea of your emotion, of how that made you feel. When I did the exercise, I thought about a time and I drew a circle and I drew a face that represented confusion. For me, it represented confusion because the other part of this exercise is we're going to talk about what our pictures mean. Now, I'm aware that you are not going to be able to talk to me directly, so you can either verbalize or you can journal or you can work as a group with someone and share your, if you feel comfortable, you could share what your pictures mean to you, and if not, then don't let that stop you. Just draw your picture and explore and be aware of how your feelings were at that time when that event occurred. The second part, after you draw your picture and after you draw your emotion, the face, choose a color that represents that emotion. Now, you can use that color to, like some of my students, they colored around the outer perimeter of that circle, the color that represented that emotion. And some of my students actually used the color to make the eyes and the nose and the mouth and things like that. Or if you want to color inside the circle, that is okay too. So we're very flexible with the part of coloring. And give yourself a moment to do that. You can just put me on pause and I'll just wait. And when you return, we'll continue. Okay, so now I would like for you to draw another circle, another oval. And in that oval, we're going to explore, again, some feelings and some emotions of a time that was unexpected, and it made you feel another emotion. And I would like for you to draw a picture of another emotion, or maybe it was the same event that occurred last week, and sometimes we have a mixture of emotions. So draw another emotion that you experienced as that situation kind of played out. Go ahead and draw your picture, and just like before, color the emotion that best describes that time, that emotion. And it doesn't have to be neat and perfect. Just a representation, just an expression. And sometimes, with art, it's not about coloring inside the lines or getting the right color. What we want to do is just to get what's in the mind out on the paper. One more circle. Draw another circle. And at the end of the day that unexpected occurrence happened, what was your emotion like? Draw the circle and then draw in the face that represents that emotion. And then again, get your coloring material and color the circle inside, outside, the eyes, whatever, that represents that emotion. And as you're doing that, if you could kind of look and see the different emotions that occurred just within that experience. And that in itself helps us to recognize that with different situations, with different occurrences, that, as humans, that we do go through a surge of various emotions throughout the day. And so as we become more aware of these different flexes and of our emotions and things that trigger us, we can stop, breathe, be aware, be thankful, be appreciative of how we are dealing and bringing ourselves back to calmness. Because when we are in a calm state, the most calm state, our mind is open and it's flexible, and we make the best, in my humble opinion, we make the best decisions during that time. And sometimes when we are going through certain situations, we have to recognize that we are going through these different emotions. So this is not a time, and I'm not promoting to hide an emotion. I think it's very important to express our emotions. I think to express our emotions mindfully is the focus of what we're doing, and the focus of this exercise is to mindfully express our pure and our honest emotions and feelings that we are experiencing, not to hide it, not to hide those emotions, and not to edit those emotions and to downplay it. Sometimes, and I think this happens unintentionally, we downplay our emotions. Or, you look at your colors that you used. You may have used colors that for somebody else, they represented happy emotions or calm emotions. For example, for me, my happy color is blue, and is a particular type of blue. And so that's what I would use to represent my emotion of happiness. For some people, blue would be like a sad color, a down color. And so what we want to do is to work through this process is we don't want to judge another person's color. We don't want to downplay and judge another person's emotion. You see how that works? So if you're looking at my paper, I probably would say, you don't want to really say, Eartha, blue is supposed to be a color that represents sadness. Why is blue your happy color? Well, I don't know why. Blue's my happy color. That's the short answer. I like blue. And so, I don't want to facilitate my response, my emotion. I don't want to, examine my emotion to justify why I'm choosing blue. But what I'm trying to focus is this is a color. It represents how I feel. It represents happy, and let's start from there. And any other color, someone may choose red as their happy color. Sometimes red is perceived as a warm color or a hot color. Well, for some people, red may be their happy color. And so we're not here to do a color analysis. We're here to really facilitate the expression of feelings and to see the color representation of that person. For me, blue, when I look at the sky, I see blue. And when there's darkness and clouds are filtering in, dark, heavy clouds, and I see that little speck of blue, it makes me happy. No matter what the clouds look like, when there could be a lot of gray clouds. It could smell like rain, but when I see a little speck of blue, for me, it triggers a happy, emotional, a hopeful response within me. I cannot explain it, but that's what it does for me. And it communicates into when I am challenged and there's a lot of things going on, a lot of darkness, a lot of negativity. I look for the blue. I look for that blue, that hope. And so it may be 80% in a situation where there's negativity. I look for that 20% of blue. And that is a perspective of how to approach life. Are you concentrating on the 80% of negative, or are you concentrating on the 20% of positive? Because what that communicates into is concentrating on what we can do and the possibilities of what we can do with that 20%, and not concentrate on an 80% negative and what we cannot do or what we don't have. And with this type of approach, it really focuses on the process of taking that positive, that little, you may be the only speck of happiness or hope in a situation. And so if you have that 20%, that our mind is happy or calm, and in that little 20% sparks ideas or approaches that no one else had ever thought about. I used the example blue. It could be any color for you. And so going through the other emotions as you look at your picture and your colors, and, maybe yellow is a color that represents sadness or frustration. And so you see that, and you can recognize my day, and if I'm frustrated, how much yellow, how much am I feeling yellow? How much frustration? Maybe it's just 10%, maybe it's just a little bit, but, are we going to let that little bit of frustration just wipe out all of our positive day? We have 24 hours. We're blessed with 24 hours. And if we have 10% of frustration, what's the rest of the day? 90% of the day, maybe it's your happy color. And so we want to focus on the positive, on the calmness. And, as you explore the last face, the last color, how did it all turn out? Did it turn out, everything turned out okay, or did it turn out, in your perspective, worse? And if it turned out, everything turned out okay, it helps kind of put things in perspective. And sometimes when we're working through something that's unexpected, and we perceive that this is turning out worse than I expected, maybe that's the beginning point of a beginning point. When an artist paints, they start with a blank canvas. And so sometimes, when we're creating something, it's kind of messy at first. You ever clean your office or your house and you're doing some major cleaning? Sometimes you got to take things down, and it looks chaotic. It looks messy. And so sometimes the things that seems worse is really we're doing a cleaning. And so that way we can clean our canvas and start with something new and creative. So thank you for joining me and participating in Transition Awareness Breathing Podcast. I'll talk to you next time.
Be sure and pick up a copy of Eartha's new book, Tab Mindfulness, Awareness and Coloring Activities in a Pandemic World. It's not just an ordinary coloring book. It features 23 illustrations to stimulate thought, relaxation, and creativity for anyone between the ages of 4 and 94. Increase your positive self-talk energy, unlock new creative paths, Transform your time once or twice a week to create beautiful art while strengthening confidence, building positive self-talk, and sensitize self-awareness. Tab Mindfulness, Awareness and Coloring Activities in a Pandemic World. It's available now at Amazon.com.